Hello everyone and welcome to OnlineJAcademy. So in this tutorial, we're going to talk about bones of the upper limb, but I'm just going to cover an overview of the bones of the upper limb. When you look at the upper limb itself, it is composed of several components that we're going to mention, but I'm going to mention them from proximal to distal, which means from the pectoral girdle to the hand. All right, so starting with the clavicle. The clavicle is a short bone and it is S-shaped. And this bone serves as a rigid support from which the scapular and the free upper limb are suspended, keeping them away from the trunk so that the arm has maximum freedom of movement. Okay. And then we have the scapula, right? So the clavicle articulate with the scapula on the acromial end or acromion process of the scapula, and that is laterally, and medially it articulates with the manubrium process of the sternum. Okay, so it is the scapula is a triangular flat bone, right? And the scapula articulate with the acromial end of the clavicle, and it also articulates with the head of the humerus at the shoulder joint. Okay, then just distal to the scapula we have the arm. So the arm is composed of what we call the humerus, and the humerus articulate with the scapula at the proximal part, and it also distally it articulates with the radius and ulnar. Then distal to the humerus, we have the forearm, and the forearm is composed of two bones. But I'm going to start by explaining the radius itself. So the radius is located more lateral to the ulnar, which is the second bone, and it is shorter than the ulnar. The radius articulates with the humerus on its proximal end, and it articulates with the ulnar as well on that proximal end, which makes up the elbow joint. And on the distal end, it articulates with the carpal bones of the wrist joints, and it also articulates with the ulnar as well, right? Which makes up the wrist joint as well. Then we have the ulnar, and the ulnar is located more medially, right? It's more medial to the radius. And this bone is more of a stabilizing bone of the forearm. So more distal to the forearm, we have the wrist and the hand. All right. So let's start by focusing on the wrist joint itself. So we have the wrist joint here, and the wrist joint is composed of 8 carpal bones. And these 8 carpal bones are arranged in 2 irregular rows. And this gives flexibility to the wrist. So let's just name these bones for you. So I'm just going to give you a mnemonic that's going to help you understand what this is, or the names of the bones, or that will help you remember these bones easily. So Sally was frustrated with what Kathy was doing. So Sally left the party to take Kathy home. So we'll start with the proximal bones on the Sally left the party. So the first one is the scaphoid, which is more lateral. Is the lunate, which is going more medially. And going from lateral to medial, we also have the triquetrum, or we can also call it the triquetrum. Okay. Okay, now more medial, we have what we call the pisiform bone. So we're now done with the Sally left the party. Let's go to take Kathy home. All right. So we have on the lateral side, these are now the distal bones, or the distal row. We have the trapezium, and next to the trapezium, we have the trapezoid, and next to the trapezoid, we have the capitate, and next to the capitate, we have the hamate. So when you look at this, Sally, which is the scaphoid, with the lunate, left the party, the triquetrum, and the pisiform to take Kathy home. So Kathy is the capitate. Bones of the hand are composed of the phalanges, which are 14 in total, and 3 on each finger, except 2 in the thumb. So when I say 3 in the finger, we have the proximal phalanges, the immediate phalanges, or the medial phalanges, and the distal phalanges. But when we look at the thumb, we only have the proximal phalanges and the distal phalanges. And then the next part of the bones that we have here are the metacarpals. The metacarpals form the skeleton of the hand, and they are positioned between the carpals and the phalanges, right? And they're composed of just the head, the shaft, and the breast as the anatomy part of it, or the structure. So we have about 5 metacarpals. All right, so this is it for this lesson, guys. See you on the next lesson where we focus on the bones, on one bone, right? So from this part, we're just going to start focusing on each bone separately, starting with the clavicle, going to the scapula, going to the humerus, going to the bones of the forearm, the wrist bones, and then finally the bones of the hand, which are the metacarpals and the phalanges. Thank you for watching.